So let's get into these Texans. And I'm going to tell you, this week, I don't want to say I was a little shaky, but as you know on my picks, I went against the Houston Texans this week. I just figured this is a kind of a semi-huge game. You know, all the health is not there as expected, probably on both sides. Haven't looked at the Buffalo Bills. Don't care about their injury report, but I care about the Texans. Going into this game, I knew it was going to be a knockout, drag out, and we're just hoping the penalties would lessen in this game. You don't shoot yourself in the foot. Well, I didn't get it all in one bag. There was still mistakes. Texans looked good coming out of the gate. Bills were stuck in mud. They couldn't get anything going, majority in that first half. But once they did, it got a little crazy. Now, I want to give shouts out to that Texans defense. After the past 2 weeks, it was too much cushion, not paying attention to detail, wide receivers running free, you're reacting late. I'm giving you 5 stars this week. Because y'all closed the airspace, made it challenging, testing these receivers all over the place. Secondary was running with their hair on fire. And CJ Stroud throwing darts like he usually does. One mistake, the interception close to the end. Bad read, but it was a disguise by that linebacker. Shouts out to him. Playing 2 receivers at one time. Veering off one way, shooting back to the middle on the other. CJ Stroud is not perfect. CJ Stroud is not almighty, all world. He can make mistakes too. But the thing about it, clean them up. He's one of the best quarterbacks of coming back after a mistake, correcting it, and getting back in stride again. So shouts out to the Houston Texans. In years past, I know I keep going back with this team because I have to. I've been through the grind. I've been through the mixer. That's why I got to keep going back to remind people, to remind the fans of that heartache decades ago or years ago. However you want to look at it, because it's years and it's decades when it's coming to those Texans. Page has turned, okay? I have to keep going back like a storybook to show you where all this started, all right? So to come in this game against the Buffalo Bills, and to mention, when the Texans way back in the day, the Oilers, I would say, would play the Buffalo Bills, knockout, drag-outs, but the Buffalo Bills always got the best of the Oilers. Jim Kelly, remember him? Used to slice these Oilers up. All right? A little bit of payback. Not much. Because they've been to 4 Super Bowls. We just trying to get in the door. But I'll tell you one thing, it won't take 4 trips to win 1. Or in Buffalo's case, none at all, right? So, great win. CJ Stroud coming off of that little small mistake. We can erase that. He had a hell of a game. Hell of a game. Figured out a way to get some kind of running game started. It kind of stalled early, but then it got stronger. Banging for 3, banging for 4 as the game got older. Ngumbawale, outstanding. Who thought this guy would be leading the charge or getting most of the carries when Mixon went out? No, you'll be thinking, Damian Pierce, Cam Akers. No, it's Ngumbawale. He's thick as grits. He's running through the mix, and he's giving the defense the fix. So yeah, guys stepping up when other players go down. Ugly game. A grind game. I don't want to say it was ugly. It wasn't uglier than last week, but it was a grind game. Slow grind. And when Buffalo started picking up the pace, you know, Josh Allen started to make the throws he usually makes. His team starting to speed up a little bit. They started making a little run. That's when the nerves are starting to set in. Like, okay, now, it was nip and tuck. Let's not just let it loose. All right? Coming down the stretch. Getting in field goal range. The intentional grounding. I'm looking at that and I'm like, are you kidding me? Isn't that our luck? Getting down in position to kick a game-winning field goal to get an intentional grounding. It was right there. To not only not even attempt the field goal, but have to punt it off to the other team. I don't know what Buffalo was doing. I mean, I know Houston had all their timeouts, had them bagged up, They were trying to come out of there. They were throwing some bombs. But if I'm Buffalo, I'm thinking, I'm trying to get out of there. I'm just trying to get this thing to an overtime game. I'm not even trying to win this game. We're too bagged up. Too many things can go wrong. A fumble, safety, sack, interception. I'm trying to get out of this regulation alive. So you know what I would have done? I would have tried to pick up a first down, but I wouldn't have been trying to throw Hail Marys and bombs trying to get out of there. I'm going to throw some screens. I'm going to try to run the ball a little bit. I want that clock to tick. Not only that, I want the Texans to use up all their timeouts. If they're going to get this ball back, they're not going to have any timeouts left. That's what I'm thinking. Because they came off that ball way too quick. What they said, they only had the ball like 19 seconds. Gotta do better than that. So this week on my weekly picks, that's one game I didn't mind dropping. Is that Bills and Texans. Huge win by the Texans. Defense was snarling. And what we were saying weeks prior, for some reason wasn't enough pressure on the quarterback. Texans got pressure this week. They got on Allen. They hurried him. They got him off rhythm, got him off his spot. That's why early in the game, the Texans was able to sustain what they had because they had Josh Allen rattled. They had him moving off his spot. They had him hurrying throws. They was putting him on the ground. All his throws were off. But you're not going to keep a good team down the whole game. Of course, they was going to gain momentum. That was going to make it interesting. But the main point of this, Texans held strong. This has been an unbelievable 5 weeks. You've seen everything from the Texans winning games in 5 weeks. They done won ugly. They done won sloppy. They done won pretty. They done won undisciplined. Finding ways to win ball games. You want to talk about a mark of a good team or a great team? Just got to be careful with great. People throw great around too freely. But a mark of a good team is you find ways to win ball games. Texans, for sure, have done that in these 5 weeks. In these 5 weeks, you've seen everything from this team. And they're not even sharp. They haven't even figured it all the way out yet. And to beat a team like Buffalo, you get big points for that. Big points. Cowboys, Steelers, historic rivalry on Sunday Night Football. What a doozy. It did not disappoint. The only disappointment is that the Cowboys pulled it out. That's the only disappointment. That's the only disappointment. But you know what? I got to give these Cowboys credit. Dak Prescott credit. This is a knockout dragout. Sometimes you don't need all the scoring in the world. You just need one of those knockout dragouts where it's tough to come by with points. Weather is nasty. Defense is snarling. Quarterbacks are falling, getting mud all over their jerseys. Passes are off on certain errant throws. Running backs are slipping and sliding. Balls flying all over the place. Pause. Just an outstanding game. And that last play on 4th down, my goodness. Last play on 4th down. I'm sitting there, man. I'm like, Steelers can get this one. All you got to do is one more stop. One more stop. Who would have thought? Everybody in that stadium knew this ball was going to CeeDee Lamb. That's why I want to give the Cowboys credit. I want to give Dak Prescott credit. That ball should have been going to CeeDee Lamb. Everybody knew it. And if it would have went to CeeDee Lamb, more than likely they would have lost. Steelers would have had all 11 men on CeeDee Lamb if he'd have threw it to him. The whole team would have been covering CeeDee Lamb. They drew up something else. A drag play to Tolbert. Is that his name? Tolbert? I believe. Dragged him across that line of scrimmage. See, a lot of things happened on that play. For number one, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you don't want Dak Prescott having that much time in the pocket for a guy to drag across the football field on the goal line. For Dak Prescott just to throw him a dart and right on the money, right at the stripe, right at the plank, crossing the plank of the goal line for a touchdown. That's big time. Big time by Dak Prescott. Big time for him trusting another wide receiver besides CeeDee Lamb in that situation. Great call from Mike McCarthy. Give him credit. This is a big game for the Cowboys. Cowboys lose this game, man, the ink would have been on some pink slips. It wouldn't have been signed, but the ink would have been on the pink slips. You hear me? Just in case. He'd have just slid it right up on his file cabinet, just waiting for the end of the season or the turmoil to continue. You know what I mean? He'd had it right there, Jerry Jones. Because that man never be putting his life on the line up in that press box, hanging every ounce of himself on every play on the field. The man be on life support up there. So a great win for the Cowboys. It went against my pick. That's another one I lost. Steelers, you had it right there. Right there. But when you're playing rivalry games and you put it all on the line, all it takes is one play. Game of inches. Game of inches. We're going to get into the Houston Texans press conference. Won't take long on it. Then we'll get into the scoreboard a little bit. But we're going to listen to DeMeco Ryans, C.J. Stroud over the victory. See what they think about it. See how they feeling. But like I say, we're not going to stay on it long. I think it's 48 minutes. We're not going to sit through it for 48 minutes. So bear with me. So Houston Texans press conference.
These are the type of games you find out who you are as a team. Like Buffalo is an outstanding team, well-coached team, much respect for them, all their players, the way they play, like nothing but respect for them, a tough opponent. So to beat a team like this, like at the end of the day, you want to score more points than the other team, man. It doesn't matter how you get it done. So I'm proud of our guys for gutting it out. And like I said again, like it wasn't all pretty. That's how games go. It's about how you finish at the end, and I'm proud of the way our guys finished.
Amen to that.
First off, Chris Boyd seems to be getting better and better every week. What is he doing to get better? And you mentioned downing that last punt at the 2-yard line, which he downed it. How big a play was that?
That play was huge, getting the punt down there. I think D. Ross and Boyd were there making that play. Chris he's continued to play his technique. That's the one thing he had to focus on, just play cleaner for us and play his technique. And when you just play your technique and you do what you're supposed to do, be what you're supposed to be, you'll make plays for us.
Coach, the rookies, Caleb Bullock and Kamari Lassiter, they had some good moments today. Also had some rookie moments. What's some of the lessons that they can take from today's game to keep progressing as young NFL players?
And Kamari and Caleb have been playing outstanding for us. I really love both of those guys and what they're doing as young players. They don't flinch. No matter what happens, they don't flinch. They keep battling. They play the game the right way, and I love having both of those guys back there.
Just kind of an update on Nico and what does it mean to, because you've mentioned before, when you play your own team, you want to get that win. What can you say about, you got to be able to get the win for Diggs going against this former team?
Yeah, we're really happy for Diggs. We know how important this win was for him. We know how important this week was for him. Anytime you're going against your old team, like a lot of guys knew we had to get this.
That's another thing. I almost forgot about that. Diggs playing his former team. So I'm glad Diggs got this win, got this victory. Like you say, you got to know how that feeling is when you go back and you play the old team that got rid of you, whether you left on good terms or bad terms. You always want to beat the team you used to play for. He got big catches. He made yardage. So he stuck it to him. And to get the win at the end of the day, can't get nothing better than that.
Listen for Diggs. Try not to make a big deal out of it throughout the entire week. But we know it, right? It's emotional. Like all the great things that he did there, right? As a receiver, as a player, like he stood out, man, and he made a lot of plays. He helped that team in some critical moments and down the playoff run. So, man, no bigger game for him than this one. He hit today for us, and he made some really big catches on third down to keep drives moving. Like play after play, Diggs stepped up and made plays. So I'm happy for him. that we were able to get this win for him, and then the update there on Nico. Nico on the long passing touchdown. He has felt his hammy grab, so he has a hammy. We'll evaluate him day to day.
Yeah, and that's tough, especially when it comes to hamstrings. Day to day, week to week, it just depends. But definitely got to get him back in the lineup.
What I say to CJ is I'm proud of you. Like, so proud of him because it's easy to see the negative plays, right? It's easy to see the turnovers, and everybody knows nobody hurts more when that ball is turned over than CJ. He feels really bad about it, but man, you keep punching, you keep battling, and that's why I'm so proud of him. Like, in those moments, a lot of guys can tuck their head and feel sorry, but when we needed a play there at the end to get a few more yards, CJ stepped up. Our play wasn't there, so he improvised and found Darray just to get us a few more yards so IMI can kick the field goal. So I'm so proud of CJ and just his growth throughout this entire year.
Speaking of Darray, can you talk about what he meant? I mean, I know you want to get Joe back, but
We'll leave it right there. But like she was saying, want to get Joe Mixon back. You better believe we want to get him back. We'll try to hold the fort down until he gets back. I don't know. Next week, week after that, after a bye week, I don't know. It seemed like that ankle injury is a lot worse than we thought. We're thinking a little rest on it, maybe miss 1 week, back the next week, but he must have really pulled a number on that ankle. But let's just go right into CJ Stroud. We'll do that. Let's see. Run this thing down. Who's that? The special teams coach? Let's put it somewhere around. Guess that's good enough.
I wouldn't say that. You know, we trust him if we are in that position, but we try to put him in the best opportunity possible. Especially, I hold myself, you know, to a high standard when it comes to that. And that intentional grind was, I have no idea why they. I get it, I guess. I mean, that wasn't necessarily abrupt. Like, I don't think it was that aggressive that I didn't throw it like to anybody. But at the same time, I do understand. Is what it
that
is,
is true because it had a guy out there.
Did a great job.
But that basically just saying he just threw an errant throw, just trying to get rid of it. But he did have a receiver in the area.
I thought that was huge, man. So it's not all about, you know, one thing about me, I don't try to ride the roller coaster. I know everybody was coming to me, like, trying to juice me up, but honestly, I just try to stay calm, know that I made a mistake. But, you know, it doesn't make me, I thought I played really solid other than those 2 plays. But when you got guys to lean on, like we talked about earlier in the week, just playing complimentary football, Kyrie had my back, the defense had my back, my O-line had my back. Everybody had everybody's back. You know, we had the defense back in the first half. Like, we all play complimentary football, and a lot of great things are going to happen for this team.
No need for the second half. This might be a very simple question, but what exactly does this offense lose when he then exits the game?
And I think he's the best receiver in football, you know, so.
Is it a little dark?
He gets out the game, it definitely is tough
Let
on
me see
us.
something.
And a lot of things are, you know, predicated
Is that a
towards
little
him
better?
for him. And, you know, I definitely do think, like,
A
we
little
still
bright
have a lot of other
coming
guys
in
to
my
step up
face,
too,
but
so
at least
they
it
did a
ain't
good job
too
doing
dim.
that. I thought Hutch played solid, you know, and really, I mean, you got to just find a way to win. We did that today, so definitely hope Nico's okay, and just we can get him back as soon as possible. But I definitely know that we have a lot of depth in that room.
CJ, how does winning games like this today, games get won?
We'll end that right there. Definitely want to cut this light off. I don't like the angle that is coming in my face. So we're going to get right into this scoreboard for week 5. So let's go ahead and check that out. Turn this light off. There we go. All right, let's get into this scoreboard.